So much for making time to be here. We, like I said, recognize that there are folks that might not be able to join us and folks that might be still on their way, but we're going to go ahead and get ourselves started. The purpose of the Waimanalo Neighborhood Board and the neighborhood boards in general, as well as the neighborhood plan, is to increase and assure effective citizen participation in the decisions of government. Rules for engaging: anyone wishing to speak is asked to click the hand raised icon, and when recognized by the chair, to address the comments to the chair. Remarks should not exceed 3 minutes. Please ensure your microphone is muted unless you are speaking. You can mute and unmute for those that are dialing in by phone by pressing *6. Please state your first and last name for the record. And before moving into your comment or questions, written testimony may also be submitted via email using the contact information listed on the Neighborhood Commission Office website. We also have adopted the use of aloha, akahai, to be modest, lokahi, to work in unity, olu olu, to serve in pleasantries, ha'aha'a, to be humble, and ahonui, to be patient, to be used as a standard of conduct for all that are participating. We recognize that there may be some challenging and emotional conversations at times, and so we asked us just to treat each other with that respect. The board may take action on any agenda item, and if required by law, State Sunshine Law HRS 92, specific issues not noted on this agenda cannot be voted on unless item is added to the agenda. A 2/3 vote, which would be 9 of this 13-member board, is needed to add an item to the agenda. Adding an item to the agenda, however, is not permitted if 1, the item to be added is of reasonably major importance, and 2, action on the item by the board will affect a significant number of persons. Determination of whether a specific matter may be added to the agenda must be done on a case-by-case basis. We ask that you please silence your electronic devices. We also remind the public that this meeting is being recorded by Olelo and will be documented and live streamed at some point, shared publicly. So just note that. So welcome again, everyone. We're going to look for someone to offer pule for us this evening. Do we have anyone on the call that would like to open our meeting in pule this evening? Anybody? Okay, I don't see any hands up, so we're just going to ask you to pull it in your own way, however you need to allow yourself to be present in this space, and ask that we provide learning for all of us in the best ways possible. So mahalo nui for that. We're going to ask our visiting NCO assistant this evening, Jeffrey Jones. Mr. Jeffrey Jones from the Neighborhood Commission Office, sitting in for Lyndon, our normal NCO assistant. And we just want to mahalo you, Jeffrey, again for your service and helping our community gain access to our meeting and really try to establish that for us. So we're going to ask if Jeffrey can call your names. Members, when your name is called, please respond to acknowledge your presence. Mahalo.
Can everybody hear me good? Got a thumbs up for those that are on camera. Awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna call you by last name. You can just go ahead and unmute your mic, and I'll get you down. For those that are not here, I'll circle back around again just to double check. Okay. I'm just gonna go down the order of my board attendance sheet. Okay, so first, Keli'i Ho'omalu. I saw her on camera earlier. There she is. Milan. Not seeing. I'll circle back. Chair Kane.
Present.
Moku Lehua.
Eo.
Wong. I'll circle back again. Ralston. Granberg.
Here.
And last on here is Rodolix. Not seeing the name. I'll go back around the circle again for those that I don't have. Milan. And Wong. as well. Ralston. And Radolix. You have 4 members present, Chair. Quorum has not been met.
Mahalo for that, Jeffrey. Just note for those that are participating, this board needs 7 members to hit quorum. Yeah, 7 members for quorum, and that just means that we are unable to take any action on any items this evening until quorum is established. I do want to recognize that our wonderful member Lourdes Milan, Lulu Milan, just lost her partner this past week, I should say. And so, we send our aloha to her ohana as they experience their loss. And Waimanalo has not been. We've lost many people in our last couple of weeks, and so we're dealing with a lot of kaumaha, I think, at this point. So for all of us that are out there that are dealing with any of those things, we pull it for all of us, yeah, that we elevate ourselves high. So in that moment, just malama yourselves and sending our deep aloha as a community out across. So mahalo for that. We're gonna move on with a message from our kupuna. Do we have any kupuna on the line that would like to address this board or this community? We have created a time and space where we allow our kupuna to share with us as a means of allowing their voices to be documented and carried and their messages to be made pa'a, yeah, and accessible to our community. And so if you have a kupuna in mind in the future that you want to welcome to join us in this capacity and share with us, please let us know. And we would love to create a space of learning for them. I don't see any hands up, so we're going to go ahead and press forward. But we will continue to hold a space for those kupuna there. Olelo No'ea of this month is going to be Mohala Kapua Wavehe Kayao. Olelo No'ea 2179, 2179, Mohala Kapua Wavehe Kayao. The blossoms are opening, for dawn is breaking. One looks forward with joy to a happy event. The function of being present in time is important for us. And as we recognize our transition of season and we're moving into this wet period, plenty things are going to be in blossom. And so really trying to see what that means for us is going to be important. And sharing in that joy of newness is something that we welcome, and we just look forward to continual growth within our community and beyond. Olalo No'ea 2179, Mohala Kapua Wavehe Kayao. Mahalo nui kako. We're going to move on, members, to our emergency providers. We have today Honolulu Fire Department. We'll start off with you folks. I think I saw, yeah, there we go. If you can just introduce yourself, sir, and we look forward to your report. Mahalo for making time this evening.
Mahalo, Chair Kane, distinguished guests and community members. I am firefighter Josh Morales from the Waimanalo Fire Station. I am here to deliver the fire statistics and safety message for the month of October. In October, we responded to 44 medical emergencies, 1 motor vehicle accident, 1 hazmat incident, 6 nuisance fires, and 1 structure fire. Our safety tip for November involved cooking safety. Keep everyone safe this holiday season. Thanksgiving is the peak day for home cooking fires, with more than 3 times the daily average for such incidents. Christmas Day, Christmas Eve rank 2nd and 3rd, with both having nearly twice the daily average. Unattended cooking is by far the leading contributing factor in cooking fires and fire deaths. Stay in the kitchen and focus on the food when you are cooking on the stovetop. Stay in the home when cooking your turkey and check on it frequently. If you want a fried turkey, purchase it from a grocery store, restaurant, or buy a fryer that does not use oil. Turkey fryers that use cooking oil are not safe. These fryers use large amounts of oil at high temperatures, which can cause devastating burns. Consider purchasing an infrared fryer, air fryer, or electric turkey fryer that has been listed by a qualified testing laboratory. Do not leave fryers unattended when in use. Are there any questions?
Mahalo nui for that. Thank you so much for the update, sir. Members, any questions for Honolulu Fire Department? All right, seeing none. Anyone from the public? All right, seeing none. Thank you so much for being here, Firefighter Morales. We appreciate your time. Thank you. Members, we're moving on to HPD. Officer Agu, thank you so much for joining us, sir. Can you just introduce yourself, and we look forward to your update.
My name is Lieutenant Johnny Agu with the Honolulu Police Department. I'm currently at the Kaneohe Police Station right now. I have the statistics for Waimanalo for October 2023. There were 0 motor vehicle thefts compared to 0 the previous month. There were 3
Lieutenant, can you unmute? Somehow you got muted. There you go. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Introduction again, or you got that part?
We got that part. You can go right from your stats.
Okay, so motor vehicle thefts, 0 compared to 0 the previous month. Burglaries, 3 compared to 3 the previous month. Thefts, 6 compared to 9 the previous month. UEMVs or car break-ins, 5 compared to 7 the previous month. And there were 0 robberies reported and 0 the previous month. And that's the stats I have for this week.
Mahalo, Lieutenant. Members, any questions for HPD? Okay, any members of the public? Representative Martin?
Aloha, thanks, Chair. Thank you for being here tonight, Officer. There's been a lot of complaints from people on Laumilo Street in Waimanalo beach lots about some homeless residents that are camping on the beach and are kind of scaring. Maybe they're a little bit unstable and possibly substance abusers, and they're really scaring the residents, possibly committing some petty crimes like bashing in cars or stealing small things, but they're mostly freaking people out. And I have been in communication with the community police about it, but it doesn't seem like any of the charges against them are sticking. And I just wondered if you could get an update on that situation. What can be done about, just a bit of terrorizing the neighborhood?
Okay, yeah. So if you've already been in contact with CPT,
Mhm.
majority of them, they do a really good job about that, especially out there. But so for us, I work midnights, 6 at night to 6 in the morning. We get called there quite often, and then we address the problems as they occur. But as far as any outreach or anything like that, we offer them some services that are allotted, like Honu or some of the social services. It's kind of tough that if they don't want the help or they don't want the help at that time, we can only offer. Yeah, we cannot really make them go and seek help or whatever. As far as any charges, if they're arrested for an offense, it goes to the prosecutor. It's out of our hands at that point, except to testify if needed. Yeah. So beyond that, I'm sorry, I cannot really answer to why the charges are not staying or sticking, or why they're not serving any time or anything like that. But it's definitely something we're aware of, and we're going to continue to follow up on. Yeah.
Mahalo, thank you.
Mahalo, Representative. Member Kili Ho'omalu and Timebo, you have a question for HPD?
Yes, officer. Have you made any were you folks called to the Waimanalo Beach Park at all? Especially where the residents live?
Like on the daily or just in general? Because like I said, Waimanalo, we actually get calls there all the time, and then as part of their normal duties, the officers will make inspections at all the beach parks. Yeah, and Waimanalo Beach Park in and of itself, we know that it's a known area that the people tend to gather at or whatever. But the officers do make checks nightly, multiple times a night. But and then they will address any on-view violations. So we get calls there. The answer is yes, we do get calls there, but I cannot pull it up and tell you exactly what kind of calls. A lot of them are nuisance calls, sometimes arguments, things of things like that. Yeah, but it's a area that they check daily or nightly for us.
Mahalo. Thank you.
Hello, Auntie Mabel. Anyone else? Any questions for HPD? Okay. Lieutenant Agu, can I just ask what would be the best way to get an update from the community policing team? Can they join us in January with an update of their outreach work? What they've been doing? Some of us know and see.
Sure. I can forward them. Sorry, I can forward them a request. Yeah. So
Okay.
the CPT team, like I said, their group is actually pretty good. Yeah, I'm sure you guys kind of see them out there quite often. But right now they're working on some other issues within the district. Yeah. Our district spans from Waimanalo all the way to Kahuku. So they're limited with officers, and then their plate is full. Everybody's plate is full. So they can definitely get to it. But I'll definitely email Jarrett and let him know that, the Waimanalo board is requesting any type of follow-ups or information as far as what has happened. So more specific, Waimanalo Beach Park itself or the beach lots
Just in
in
general,
general?
I think for those that aren't familiar with the community policing team, it would be great for them to
Yeah.
just be and make themselves present to kind of what they do.
Yeah.
Clearly we've had an increase in concern around the houseless communities in our places and in our community. And so we know that the CPT team is one of those that kind of first get deployed and kind of work on that. And so hearing firsthand from them is going to be important in how we support HPD's presence in the community, but is also a way of developing trust with HPD and the community too. And so, CPT is normally the ones that we would want to see out engaging with our community in all those kind of events. And so it'd be good, I think, to bring their voice into our hearings and talking with them too, because we don't really get to hear from them. Yeah.
Okay, for sure. Yeah.
Mahalo, Lieutenant. I think we have one more question. Member Ted Ralston. Ted, you can unmute if you have a question for HPD.
Just talking away there. Okay. Officer Agu, thank you for your comments and for hanging around our neighborhood. I live in that area, the beach lots. And yeah, there's a lot of petty theft, also big jewelry thefts and things like that. $20,000, not petty. People are moving into empty houses and living there for a period of time. Pattern is not clear. They steal things that are just out in your yard or your garage. So anything that but there's no pattern. Steal batteries, but not steal the tools that the batteries go in, and they're side by side. So it's a bit odd in terms of what is their motivation. But a question for you is, what can the neighbors do? What would be the best thing that would help you the most in in following up on this? I know we've been told through neighborhood policing to make a call to 911 when there's a couple of individuals that we all know that are walking around and give a report on their presence. And that's a little bit creepy, and it's a little bit also unusual. We'll call 911 and say, we got an Ikaika report. What would be, in your mind, the thing that the neighbors should be doing?
Well, of course, for us, it's always vigilance. Yeah. If just being aware, it's great that the community knows each other, they know their neighbors. It helps that they know who shouldn't be there. So 911, you can remain anonymous. Yeah. It doesn't have to be, you need to meet with the officer. Some people fear any kind of retaliation or anything like that. But also, this is something that they've done in other places. That might be something to bring up with the CPT, but they do also have what are called neighborhood security watches. Yeah, we don't necessarily do that one on the patrol side. That's kind of true to CPT, but they do walks. There's a few that have restarted, and then a lot of that has to do with reaching out in different ways other than through 911 direct. But if there's any kind of incident occurring, you're always encouraged to call 911. Yeah, it don't have to be. We respond to what are considered suspicious circumstances. We don't know exactly what's going on, but something doesn't look right. It's definitely worth calling 911. It becomes a priority to call. They will get to it if they're not on something else already, but they do at least check the area. And then again, like I said, we are aware of the types of incidents that occur in that area. And the Waimanalo officers do tend to make checks through the night, but it also helps the calls come in. It's not a problem. They always should respond to those types of calls to at least check it out. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Mahalo Nui for the conversation. Thank you so much there. Lieutenant, mahalo for your time and your service. Be well, and we will see you folks in January. Thank you so much for being here, sir.
Happy holidays.
Mahalo. And then for us, Member Ralston, 7:13 p.m. Thank you for being here. Thanks, Jeff. All right, members, we're going to move on. We have Board of Water Supply. Danny, thank you so much for rearranging your schedule to be here this evening. We look forward to your update.
Hi, good evening. Hi, so the report from the Board of Water for November. There were 3 water main breaks in October, all on one street, Kakaina Street. This was a 6-inch water main that was installed in 1960. And in the message, we have our 2024 poster and poetry contest coming up. Children in ages kindergarten through 6 are welcome to join the contest. And poetry for children in grades 7 to 12. And the theme this year is Our Water, Our Home. Entry deadline is February 28th, 2024. And you can get more information and details at boardofwatersupply.com. And then I had 4 follow-up responses to questions from last month. So the first one was, okay, so as well number 1, the one that was given to the Department of Ag, and the response from our communication department is yes. Well number 1, it was actually shut down by the board in 1994, and then it was given to the Department of Agriculture in mid-2000s. Today it is used as a backup water supply for the area farmers. And the second question regarding the upcoming road work in Waimanalo, planning, etc. Yeah, there is a meeting. The meeting is still scheduled for this evening, I believe, regarding this upcoming road work and pipe installation. And then the third question, with water rate increases of 50% and higher, how much of this increase is attributed to the Red Hill crisis? Response, let's see, the Board of Water is keeping track, but as of now, there is no final tally. It is not sure and how much to say this rate increase will be attributed to Red Hill. We've also have inflation and electrical costs have been factors, as well as our regular operations, salaries, benefits, etc., which are set by contract by the unions. We still need to operate and maintain our system to provide water in the community and cannot wait until the military compensates us for the cost of Red Hill. And then the fourth question from Chair regarding the water main break of the 30-inch water main break in August, the impacts that it did create. So this was a water main break, 30-inch line, a transmission line that runs, I believe, God, I'm not sure from what area to what area, but usually when it's a 30-inch line, the matrix usually is, it should be a 30-hour repair. So as far as I was told, they did do as quick as they could. I don't know if they made the 30 hours. However, there was a water wagon stationed for the residents who lost water. There were a total of 27 homes. Sea Life Park and Makapu Beach Park were impacted by the water loss. Contraflow lane was set up during the repairs. And let's see. Yeah, and then also please note, Board of Water does appreciate the community's patience and understanding during these water main breaks that are unforeseen, especially. Is there any questions?
Danny, thank you so much for making those comments available to us and for doing your due diligence in looking. Members, any questions for the Board of Water Supply? Okay, I'm seeing none. Anyone from the public for Board of Water Supply? Representative Martin?
Thank you, Chair. Danny, I apologize
Hi.
if you mentioned this. I needed to step away for a second. But did you talk about, we had asked about the plans to replace the water lines on the brand new highway in Waimanalo in the next year and a half. And I had asked about, what the thought that went into that timing.
Yes, so, I didn't confirm with my communications department, and I believe they will be up tonight to do a presentation. That was on the agenda.
Yeah,
they
they were
were-
scheduled to join us, but I don't think they were able to make tonight's meeting. They were supposed to join us earlier in the month. So our original meeting, they were planned to be here, but I think Kathleen had shared that they were not able to join us tonight for the reschedule. So we're gonna look for January for that update from them.
Yeah, they were gonna do a presentation. Our communications director was gonna do that. Yeah, I don't know what they were going to say. I didn't get any verbiage about that. I'm sorry.
Mahalo, Danny. Mahalo, Chair.
Thank you, Rep. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know that they're not going to be joining us tonight. The reschedule didn't work out for them. So January, we're going to plan, Danny.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, unless I get surprised, but I don't think they're joining us. Yeah. Thank you. I don't see any other hands up, Danny. I just also want to make note, one of our
Yeah.
community members mentioned a potential sinkhole situation that might be creating or
Oh.
being started on Kakaina Street as well. So where Kakaina and Mikia, where Kakaina and Mikia Street merge onto Kakaina, there was some previous work done there and it was kind of flat. But for some reason, over the last couple of however many, the community members have noticed that it's starting to dip. And so in that patchwork that was previously worked on, there's like now a dip. So it could have just been the compact wasn't done well, or, I'm not a engineer, but we're hoping that it's not something larger. And I'm not sure if Board of Water has the ability to search and kind of do some investigating in that, but I will be sending a GPS pin to Kathleen, and I'll be happy to CC you on that as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Mahalo nui, Danny. Thank you for being here and for your service.
Thank
Have
you.
wonderful holidays. Mahalo.
You're welcome.
Members, we're going to move on to Mayor Rick Blangiardi's representative, Director Laura Thielen. Director, thank you for your flexibility and being able to join us tonight. Mahalo.
Sure, my pleasure. Okay, so for the mayor's report, we have there was some questions about the Waimanalo Beach Park ball field lights. So the Parks Department and Department of Design and Construction and Facility Maintenance, electrical people who fix the park lighting, they all met out on site. I think they also got a HECO representative and one of our energy efficiency contractors out there as well. They think they got the electrical issue fixed and they got some of the lights on, but several light fixtures are out and need to be replaced. Excuse me. We've also been notified by DLNR about the seabirds and our lighting in this area. So we're talking with them as well as our contractors about what type of lighting might be suitable for any replacement, because this is an area where there's a pretty high seabird mortality rate, I guess, of the ones that are found. And so they've asked us to be more cautious about the lighting on the windward coast especially. So we'll keep working on that, but I think with the seabird, the good news is the electrical looks like it might be fixed, but given the seabird concerns, we probably are going to have to be specific about the kind of light fixtures we put in and then the times of year that we'll be able to have them on. The second question was about the La'amia trees, and our urban forestry folks, we've identified 3 trees. It's either 2 males and 1 female or 2 females and 1 male, I forget which, that they're nurturing to get up to an age where they can go in at Waimanalo. So we will work with you on that, but we've identified 3 trees to seedlings to set aside. And then we did get the response from Department of Design and Construction on answers to the questions that were asked at the public meeting that they held on the Waimanalo Beach Park Pavilion. It's about a little more than a page and a half. 11 comments and the responses, and they attached it in the neighborhood board report. I don't know, Chair, whether you want me to go over this or if it's attached in the neighborhood board report, that can be shared with the members. And then that's sufficient. I don't want to hog up your meeting time.
Yeah, thank you. If you can send it to us, we can post it on our social media pages for the public and distribute to the lister.
Okay,
The lister.
You have it. It's a PDF document that is actually in the neighborhood commission response spreadsheet. It's the first question.
Okay, Jeffrey, is that something that gets added to our Google Drive?
As long as there's nothing that's, of course, that needs to stay like internally, then yes, it can be posted on your Google Drive. I'll confirm that first thing tomorrow with Lloyd.
Okay, so Director, I don't receive your reports like that. It doesn't come to me or the community.
Oh,
So
I
your
see.
neighborhood
Okay.
board report is something that is not made publicly available to us at this time. It should be. We used to get it, but I don't know where that stopped. So we'll look forward to that update and we'll post it publicly for the community to receive the comments that was so eagerly awaited for. So mahalo for your follow-up there.
Sure. And Jeffrey, there's nothing from my perspective with the Parks Department. There's nothing that is confidential. So I'd let Lloyd, make the call, but I think it could be posted.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
It was
Jeffrey.
intended for public review.
Got it. Mahalo, Director. Is that all from your side tonight?
All from my side.
Fantastic. Members, any questions for the Director or the Office of the Mayor? Okay, I'm seeing none. Any members of the public for the Mayor's Office? Okay, I'm seeing none.
Hi,
Director,
sorry, this is Holly.
Holly, mahalo, Holly. Go ahead and introduce yourself, and then if you have a question for the Office of the Mayor, please go forth.
Yes, hi, this is Holly. And I was wondering, I didn't know if this is appropriate time to ask about the lighting at Kailua High School with the for their graduation and all that. Is this the appropriate time to?
You can ask, but the high school's run by the State Department of Education, and I'm sorry, I'm with the city, so it may be a question that the two state legislators who are on the meeting would be able to help you with.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm happy to talk about it when my time comes.
Okay, mahalo.
Mahalo, Holly. Director, I did have two questions, if I may put on your plate. We know that Bellows has been going through some significant identifying of some aged out trees, of ironwood trees. What is the position of the Parks and Rec Department and the forestry folks in relationship to trying to be as proactive to tree falling, etc.? Is there anything actively happening in Waimanalo shores or in our beaches and parks that are planned to replace ironwood trees at this time?
So I've talked to Duff about this. We go through removal of trees. They did recently, I think over the last year, have a fairly large contract that went through the Waimanalo Beach Parks as well as the Bellows camping area to take a look at the ironwood trees and to do pruning and selective removal where needed. And they had a specialist arborist that specializes in ironwood for that. I've asked them about whether how we handle seedlings, and I guess they're hard to take in certain areas, so they don't remove where they're growing naturally, but I don't think they've started outplanting or doing anything of that nature. I could ask a little bit more about it, but yeah, I have a little bit more detail than that.
Great. No, yeah, I think it would be important for us to start having those kinds of conversations happening at the same time, particularly since we know that our trees don't grow quickly. And it would be something that, we could offer community resources and support for by means of supporting outplantings like that. The second thing I wanted to ask was specific to camping. I had some questions about, there was on the website, one of our community members had screenshotted the campsites at the Hunananiho campgrounds, there were 3 that were left unavailable, grayed out, but they were not like there's no reason or explanation as to why. And when I had reached out to the city, I had learned that sometimes there may be like Boy Scouts that might come in and they may be able to take some of these campgrounds. And I thought it was such a beautiful program. And I just had some questions about if that program is open and available to NHOs, or is it just Boy Scouts?
We do have some group campsites, and sometimes a group may come on in and do a permit. We don't favor, any particular group for the group campsites over others. And it's first come, first serve.
Okay, great. We're gonna maybe start a conversation just so that you're aware with, I think, someone that's managing campgrounds or camp situations. There's an increase in camping now, obviously, as people are able to come back into place. And I've noticed this at the beach park specifically, the access has become so accessible that there's vehicles parked all throughout the now what used to be just campground, but there's cars and trucks just parked all along there now. And we struggle obviously with the overuse of our communal spaces in that way, as you know. And so what is a solution that the community can work on to mitigate some of these, because there's nothing stopping these trucks and vehicles from driving onto the sand, which we have a big problem about here. But I was just curious about what type of rules and who's following up on those rules during these weekends where there's just an excessive amount of camping happening. Is that a department thing, or is that something that we should just be calling HPD about?
So as of now, HPD does the enforcement for, because the rules are laws. I think, and sometimes though, when you look at this type of repeated problem, and sometimes it may be not the same person over and over again, maybe different people, the education, the enforcement, it doesn't seem to be as effective. And now that it looks like a lot of places they're going to the physical changes. So like you'll see those speed humps now. It's like, how many times can you run a speed trap in Nu'uanu? How many signs? It doesn't change it. Let's put in the speed humps that forces people to slow down. So at the Parks Department, we've had areas where we've put the boulders to stop the driving, bollards and chains, and we're trying to experiment with some other things. In some locations, they'll have these like Pio Soccer Peninsula, the old telephone poles in like a saddles. In other places, people will just, wrap a chain around it and yank it off with their truck and drive through. So it varies about what works where. The boulders get moved around a lot, if they're not really big. So we just need more barricades than we have, but we're slowly tackling various places.
Mahalo. Thank you so much for that. We have a question from Member Ralston, and then we're going to press on. Ted?
Yes, Chair. It was actually in response to your comment about the replacement plan for degraded ironwood trees. Were you suggesting like for like new ironwoods for old, or are you suggesting something less invasive in replacement of the ironwoods? I'm just curious what if there's a plan for that, or should we have a plan?
Yeah, I will go on record and say I will never advocate for a non-native species to be planted in our Aina. So definitely not an ironwood for an ironwood, but certainly a native tree, coastal forest type of tree would be something I would advocate for.
Good. I was just checking. That's all. Thank you.
Mahalo, Ted. Yeah. Great. Director, thank you. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that I had misunderstood the question. I thought you were talking about outplanting of ironwoods, and that's where I was saying that we don't have a plan for that. We did get some funding this past year for more tree planting, and we've been able to dedicate more funding towards that. We do want to look at, especially in our beach areas where we are losing so many trees, what we can plant. But it's also not planting where we know that there's going to be more erosion. And then planting in locations where the plants will survive. So because ironwoods tend to kill off other plants nearby, we wouldn't be able to spot plant alternative plants in an ironwood forest. But we are looking at, other locations where we can do plantings in the coastal areas.
Mahalo for the clarification, Director. We don't have it agendized tonight, but I would strongly not want to see sapling ironwood trees planted back into these areas. I think we can look for better solutions than that. But thank you for that clarification. All right, seeing no others, mahalo again, Director, for your time this evening and for your service. Mahalo. Members, we have 5 vacancies on our agenda. Do we have anyone present that is here tonight to fill one of these vacancies? This is in Subdistrict 5, Waimanalo Village, Subdistrict 8, New Homesteads, Subdistrict 9, Old Homestead Beaches to Makapu'u, and then Subdistrict 11, the Hale'aupuni area, as well as an at-large position. I know there was some interest, but do we have anyone on the call this evening that is here for any of these vacancies? Please make yourself known. Okay, seeing none, members, if there's any recommendations or if you're hearing this in the public, we have 5 seats on this board that need to be filled, and we strongly, strongly encourage people of any age to come and participate. As long as you're an adult, after 18, you can participate in these discussions. And so please feel free to join us and come out and learn with us if you have that interest. Mahalo. We're going to move on to our community organization reports. We're going to start off with Waimanalo Elementary School. I don't see Principal Jamie on this evening. So we're going to press on to Kekula Kayapuni o Waimanalo, Blancheflop Elementary, Principal Heidi Resentes. Welcome to our November meeting.
Aloha, everyone. As far as how things are going at Blanche Pope Elementary, we are moving right along. As some of you may know, I am new to the school, and so just getting acclimated and getting to know our students, our families, and our staff is something that has been pretty well established. We've gone and done several things with the help of our Family Resource Center coordinator. We've had a lot of family engagement happening. I don't know if you guys heard, we did have a Fall Festival, a trunk or treat, which was a huge turnout. We had some food vendors, some food truck people come out. It was pretty crowded. And then we just had our first annual turkey trot on Wednesday before Thanksgiving, which, was good for the kids. Of course, we did it in the morning. And so by the afternoon, the kids were pretty pooped, even though it was a pretty small route, a short route. Other than that, I'd really just like to implore to the community that we have been struggling with some vandalism concerns. I'm not sure if everyone is aware, but just within the past few months that I've been there at Pope, we've had some cameras or security cameras being destroyed. We've had lighting fixtures also defaced and destroyed. And we do have a camera and security system, which alerts us when there are people on campus during off hours. And so there's just a lot of trespassing going on. We've had to install locks and gates, but still that's not a deterrent. So really, I just want to, let the community know if you see something, say something. I know HPD has been out there as much as they can, but I know by the time they get the call, sometimes it's just too late. But it is an issue because it is costly when we have to replace lighting fixtures, replacing security cameras. It does incur a cost to the school, which will then take away, funds for other things. So that's about it. Thank you.
Mahalo, Heidi, for being here. Yeah, that's concerning. I guess I have two concerns. One in the vandalism, but two in the fact that the school gets charged for that when I don't know that that's within your power to create controls on. So thank you for raising that concern. I would love to take on that conversation in our education committee and see what alternatives we can pressure the Department of Education to think about moving forward. Because I can't imagine why something like that would be pulled out of your school's budget. That seems, anyway. Members, any questions for Waimanalo Blanche Pope Elementary and Kikula Kayapuni? Anyone from the public? All right. Heidi, thank you so much for making time and flexibility this evening to be here present with us. Mahalo for the presentation and your continued service to our community. Thank you.
Mahalo.
All right, gang, we're going to move on. For Malama Honua Public Charter School, we have Po'okumu Denise Espana. Mahalo, Po'okumu, for your flexibility and rescheduling. Thank you for being here. We look forward to your update.
Aloha mai kako, mahalo board for having me again to represent Malama Honua. Kimiona, may I share screen? Is that
yes,
okay?
you can. Yep.
Okay. Let me see if I can. Okay, let me see. Can everybody see that? Yeah, can. Okay.
Yep, good to go.
Okay, so just a quick update. We are wrapping up our, we're in trimesters. So we wrapped up our first trimester with a hoike at WCC, where all of the grade levels were able to share their learning. Hoike, all of the learning that they had. And that first trimester for us is Ovaila. So who am I? My connection with my mo'okuauhao, my genealogy, not only my own ohana, so the babies will start with their own immediate ohana and what's closest to them. And then we go all the way up to our oldest hamana in 8th grade, where they share a little bit more about their connection to Aina. And they were doing some poetry and sharing about their connection to Waimanalo through poems and artwork. And all of this is the culmination of their first trimester of work. So we have some images of those at WCC. We also have been on a variety of different huaka'i. Kumusharlani took our first and second graders and their ohana up Mauka. And they just learned about appropriate gathering. They're learning about the canopy, as well as they made kalao, so musical implements that they're going to be using for hula. Speaking of hula, we were able to, our hamana were able to share, there was a Hawaii Charter Commission brought in representatives from Project Zero, from the Harvard Project Zero, that our kumu have been presenting and learning more about questions and how do we ask good questions and provoke engaging conversations. And so we celebrated with them. Our kumu presented at the conference, and then our haumana, through the leadership of Kumu Sharlani, shared hula and mele. And then also we celebrated our first graduating class of junior lifeguard. This is just an image of them as they did rescue practices at our beach. Also, if you have any rising ninth graders, at the education committee meeting, we talked about Halau Hekili. It's a collaboration between, rising ninth graders, so 8th graders this year. It's a collaboration between Windward College, Purple Mai'a, and Kailua High School. And so our first couple of years was our haumana taking one college course on the Kailua High School campus. This past year, you can see our cohort here, they actually started a middle college where our haumana get to continue to work in a small cohort this time, which allows them to go on huaka'i at usually about once every other week. sometimes in the beginning spent more time on campus, really getting to do Aina-based learning and applied learning of what they're doing in English language arts, around math and science. So applying that through the lens of Ike Hawaii. And so in the end, they will have both high school and college credits. They get to actually participate as both high school students as well as college students in an amazing collaboration with these organizations. So if you are interested in learning more about Halau Hekili, you have either a 7th or 8th grader, please make sure you can reach out to Purple Mai'a, you can reach out to Kailua High School. I'm more than happy to discuss anything with you, or just message me and I'd be happy to talk story with you guys about this amazing opportunity for our haumana. Tomorrow is both Laku Oko'a as well as Giving Tuesday. And so I wanted to just share that we are, for the first time ever, trying to do a Giving Tuesday. So there's a QR code. We're looking at trying to afford a new van. In order to go on all of our huaka'i, buses are crazy expensive. And we try to get out. Usually we have about 2 to 3 huaka'i a week for our K-8 students. And so we're looking to support the purchase of a new van so that we can take our babies to learning outside of the 4 walls. So this is our Giving Tuesday campaign. Check us out on social media. We're looking, every dollar counts. And so we're just feel very, very blessed to be able to be welcome and learn with and from Aina. But it does take funding to get there safely and securely. Also, if you check us out online, we wanted to just share, you may see these bags around town. In order to support our 6th grade voyage, we have Malama Honua reusable bags. You can check this out online as well, but they're just really cute bags. So I wanted to share that. And then finally, because I didn't see anyone else from Hui Malamuke Kai, they are celebrating their 25th anniversary with a gala at their site this Saturday. So I have both a link as well as a QR code if you are able to donate or would like to join us for this extravaganza. There's going to be ono food and great entertainment. We, Malamohono, will be helping to provide some ono pupu. It'll just be a great opportunity to come and support an amazing organization as they celebrate 25 years serving Waimanalo. Oya Valeno.
Mahalo nui. Thank you so much, Po'okumu Espana, for that update. And mahalo for covering Halau Hekili as well as Waimalamo Kikai. One less thing I got to do. So thank you for that as well. Members, any questions for Malama Honua Public Charter School? Okay, seeing none. Any members of the public, any questions for Malama Honua Public Charter School? I see in the chat, Holly had asked how much the tickets were.
Yes.
Okumu, do you have that answer?
Yes. So I think there's a sale going on right now.
So
If you put
11:30 tonight, yeah.
Yes, celebrate. And I bought my ticket from before, so I'm not too sure. But if you put the word celebrate in before you check out, it's half price. The tickets before were 100, so I think it would be 50. And it's this Saturday.
Mahalo.
Mahalo.
Okay, seeing no other questions, we're gonna say aloha to you and ahui ho, and we'll see you soon. Mahalo for your time. All right, we're moving on. I don't see anyone from Hui Malamo Kikai this evening, and I was gonna share the same update. So mahalo to Denise for that. And then we don't have anyone from Artists, from Windward Community College this evening. So we wish them well as well. College of Tropical Agriculture and Human Resources, Auntie Ilima did share an update that I'll read for everyone. The Waimanalo Learning Center program at the UH Waimanalo Research Station promotes food sovereignty and self-sufficiency in our community. We will be at the community parade, Waimanalo Christmas Parade, and the next public event at the farm is in Olena Turmeric Field Day, scheduled for February of 2024. Time and date to be announced. Follow us on Facebook at Waimanalo LC or email our community coordinator, Auntie Ilima, at leepu'upu'u@hawaii.edu. leepu'upu'u@hawaii.edu to keep current on upcoming events. So that is the update from CCHAR. We're going to press on to Hawaii Job Corps. Auntie Julie is not present with us this evening, but did share that they do have wonderful opportunities for employment to research. Please visit their website. I will look for the website and put it in the chat as soon as I'm done with the next update. But she welcomes you to join their team. So please, if you are looking for a career in that field, in those fields, to please take a look. You can work right here in beautiful Waimanalo. Mahalo for that, Auntie Julie. Waimanalo Health Center is not present as well. We will read an update from them. Let me pull that up. All right, and the update from the Waimanalo Health Center, these are announcements for 11/27/2023. Farmers Market starting December 6th. Please join us Wednesdays, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Waimanalo Health Center. Farmer Ma Farms and other vendors will be there. Please join us. We are hiring full-time and part-time positions, excellent benefits, on-the-job training, positions available in several areas of the health center. Please visit waimanalohealth.org/careers. waimanalohealth.org/careers. Vaccines, protect your ohana this holiday season. The flu vaccine and updated COVID-19 vaccines are available at the health center. Please call 808-259-7948. Again, 808-259-7948 to schedule your appointment. And that was the update from Jasmine Leifiti from Waimanalo Health Center. Do we have anyone here from the Waimanalo Hawaiian Homestead Association? Kenneth, anyone here from the Homestead Association? Okay, seeing none. Do we have anyone from Bellows Air Force Station this evening? Okay, seeing none. Anyone from Marine Corps Base, Hawaii? Christy.
Aloha.
Aloha, welcome Christy. Mahalo for being flexible and joining us this evening. The time is yours.
Thank you. I had a couple of updates in regards to a few things that Laura Thielen shared regarding the ironwood. I agree with you. We shouldn't replace it with ironwood. Totally. Can we put koa trees instead? They can grow in sand. We're also noticing that we've got some city and county workers that have been partnering with some of our environmental group at Marine Corps Base to trim some of the trees and remove some of the dead branches. And they'll be doing that at the ending of this week. Tomorrow, we have a group that will be going in to do LFA surveying of the little red fire ants through a pretty large section of TA1, so training area 1. I'm excited to see about what they turn up, which will hopefully be nothing. And then Shearwater. Our environmental group, Dane Christensen, Major Hart, have also been tagging along Fort Hossie Beach some of the shear water so that they can detect if they have been injured or their flight patterns during this time of the season. And they've also posted, and they're not just to the residents, but to our hangars and all of the flight patterns, because of the changes in the weather and the lighting from some of our hangars, that during the nighttime, if they'll close the doors just to minimize the light, because that's what they're drawn to. we recognize that old hangar doors are hard to close, but just encourage to continuously dim, and in the workplaces, follow all of anything to do to minimize the lighting that is on the base so that it does not disrupt the flight path of both the birds as well as the aircraft. And any other some fun, very happy stuff. I like to share the happy stuff, you guys, but willing to take questions on other things. Upcoming this year, if you folks aren't aware, Hawaii is going to be hosting the Fest Pack in June, June 6th through the 16th. And the Windward side has been asked, with the support of the Marine Corps, to assist with hosting docking locations for several of the va'a that will be coming from some of the nations in the Pacific. Currently, there are 9 nations that are bringing their va'a and looking for a place to dock prior to the June 5th ceremony at Kualoa. So Marine Corps Base is looking at how we can partner to give a place for these va'a. I shared this also at the Kaneohe Neighborhood Board and had support from the Commodore of the Yacht Club, stating that they had moorings that could possibly support this. This is a big, I'm excited. So it's the first time Hawaii has been asked to participate or to host this event. This past weekend, the weekend prior, we had a makahiki, and it's the first time in 12 years that the lineal descendants, so Donnie Camvo, who is one of our lineal descendant families, reached out and asked to be able to conduct ceremony at Ku'au. And they came, spent the entire weekend overnight, stayed overnight, Friday night and Saturday night, and left on Sunday. And 10 lineal descendant families were present for the whole time. And it was really nice to be able to reconnect that. During the same time, the Special Olympics had been going on between the Marine Corps Base as well as Pearl Harbor. And so our CO was not able to attend, but he wanted to come out. So hopefully during closing, because we'll be doing closing makahiki, or the ending ceremony for makahiki in February. December 9th, the environmental hosts the Weed Warrior, where the community is able to come out to assist along the shoreline removal of invasive species. A lot of the mangrove has been removed and continues, so that's a big project currently. That is all I have right now. If you folks have any questions.
Mahalo nui. Thank you so much for that conversation, the update. Members, any questions? We have a hand up for Member Ralston.
Hi, Christy. Ted here. Did you say? Did I hear you right that there might be LFA inside the Bellows Beach areas?
No, they're just going to take the the community has already been out in full force and just saying test. And we have attended every town hall, from the Waimanalo to the Kaneohe and Kahalu, and when Lisa Martin did, Representative Martin did the one in the Lanikai side, we had representatives at every single one, and we just want to do the areas that we can do, so we can tell and we can monitor it and continue to monitor it. So no,
Okay, it's
nothing
due
yet.
diligence. I got it.
hopefully no yet.
Yeah, I got them. Okay, thank you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
no, yes, it would be great.
Yes.
Hello, Ted. Members, any other questions for Marine Corps Base Hawaii? Okay, anyone from the public? Okay. Christy, I just want to, highlight, I know, and I want to mahalo, Colonel Bevan for taking proactive measures to mitigate the impacts of the plane crash. And we send our deepest aloha to those involved in that. We look forward to what that investigation will provide. And, it goes without saying that even in our Waimanalo community, within the valleys of our community, we've been impacted by such events that have taken the lives of servicemen and women. But it's also created uncertainty in the ability of training within our region. The most recent included a drop that was supposed to land on base, but ended up in the area of the school. Yeah. So it raises questions and concerns about the ability and the decision making of leadership to be doing such training in certain types of weather patterns and events. I'm assuming that Colonel Bevan and maybe the investigative team is going to provide public updates as they go through the learning. Is that correct?
Oh yes, most definitely. That particular question has been asked by many people in the community. Most of us that live on this side, the very first question was, nobody could see anything. What were they thinking? And with just a simple non-pilot, non-military individuals asking that, for sure that yes, they're definitely going to be asking it, and especially because I'm going to be putting it in a question. This is what the community is asking.
Mahalo. And you mentioned that the website now provides flight paths. Is that something that I heard you say correctly, or is that wrong?
There is a website. Oh, I just noticed that my video wasn't on. Start video. Okay, so I just noticed that this iPad. So the website is called Radar 24, and you can track any aircraft in the area. And if you and many of the times I'm able to track some of the military aircraft that's right over our home. Actually, it's right on the coast, but it appears, because we live right on the coast, it appears right over our head. You can track that. It does not necessarily tell you what's coming in the future, because training can be requested even a couple of hours prior. So therefore, it wouldn't necessarily make that website. I hope that answers the question.
It does. I'm just trying to think about how the community that has been very present in dealing with military aircraft flying above. And we've gotten a lot of commitment from previous community liaisons that have shared, like, no, they shouldn't be flying over communities. The difference of flying over a coastal zone, but literally flying over the valley is very different. And so we're just trying to figure out ways in which we can help share data with the Marine Corps base to let them know, and not just the Marine Corps base, but anyone that's doing any type of aircraft training, that there still is issues with military aircraft over communities. And so we got to work on that. And I'm just trying to figure out what best way to help that, because the words and the verbiage haven't been as powerful. Despite years of advocacy, we still have these aircraft and videos of them flying over the community. And so I just wanted to learn a little bit more about what you said. So I'll connect with you a little bit better on that, and we'll see what we can work on. But I appreciate your time. I don't see any other hands up for the Marine Corps Base Hawaii. So just mahalo again for your service to our community, your work, and we look forward to continuing our relationship with you folks.
Thank you.
Mahalo nui. Members, we're going to move on. Hawaii National Guard. Do we have anyone from the Army National Guard this evening? All right, hearing and seeing none, we have resident community concerns and announcements and reports. We're going to go through. We're going to start off with actually Leala Cook. Leala, are you still on the line?
Aloha mai kako.
Mahalo. Go ahead.
My name is Leala Cook. I am the Waimanalo Christmas Parade Chair. Waimanalo Christmas Parade this year will be held on Saturday, December 9th, and the parade will begin at 9 a.m. and end at 11:30 a.m. We will be staging the floats and the big rigs at Waimanalo District Park starting from 6:30 and moving them out at 8:30 to get them to the start of the parade, which is on Humuniki and Kumuhao Street, which we will start with a pule at 8:55 and start the parade at 9. Moving on to Humuniki and Kalaniana Ole Highway and proceeding on to the highway and ending the parade at Waimanalo Beach Park. We will have 40 special duty officers that are volunteering their services that will be manning our roadways and our side streets and keeping our parade safe. Um, we will also be feeding the participant a light refreshment at Waimanalo Beach Park at the end of the parade, which has been donated from our Kupuna Church, Auntie Blanche, as well as Rocky Road and Nakipi. They are providing hot dogs, chips, sodas, chili bowl, rice, and we are also having our mandatory participant meeting parade on Wednesday, December 6th at the Waimanalo Library at 6 p.m. If anyone is still interested into participating in our annual community Waimanalo Christmas Parade, you may contact myself. My cell phone is 808-561-6580, or my email address is Hawaii Pau, writers with a S at gmail.com. Our theme for the Christmas parade is sharing memories of Andrew Jamila as he had continued to keep our annual Christmas parade on for many decades. Our Grand Marshal this year will be Odetta Higa, who has been on the board with Andrew and myself for many years. So she is retiring this year, and she is our Grand Marshal who will be on a float with Uncle Henry Kahalevai, who started the Christmas parade, as well as a photo and memory of Andrew Jamila. We will have the Olelo station at TV camera at the Farmer Mills Market parking lot. So we will be having the Waimanalo Christmas Parade televised on the Olelo station. Not sure when the schedule television broadcast will be, but I will put it on our Waimanalo or social media so to let everyone know, we are still taking some donations to pay for some of the expense. But I really thank the community for coming together and helping to put this annual event on for our whole Keiki and our whole community to enjoy this holiday season. Mahalo and mele kalikimaka.
Mahalo, Leala. If you can, if you haven't done so yet, if you might drop some information in the chat, that would be super helpful as well. If not, we can do so too. Let me know.
Will do.
Mahalo. Go ahead, Rise. Hi, Sharice.
Hi,
You
sorry.
doing an
I just
update?
I just wanted just the reason why I logged on for the parade. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead. You have a question for Leala?
Yeah. Can you tell me if Rise signed up for participating in the parade?
Yes, Rise. I did receive Rise application. Thank you so much. So far, I have a total of 26 application that has will be participating in the parade. So thank you very much.
Okay, I just want to make sure so I can show up on December for the meeting.
Mahalo.
Thanks, Sharice. Mahalo, Leala. I don't see any other questions, so we're good. Thank you so much for your commitment to continuing the legacy of the parade for our community. Thank you. Members, we're going to move on. We have an update or an announcement from Hokuakana. This is for Hemolele Pio'ole. This is their volleyball club, excuse me. So shortly after the Waimanalo Christmas Parade, December 9th, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Waimanalo School Cafeteria, there will be a fundraiser, a fun fair in the Waimanalo. It will be held on the grounds of the elementary school, intermediate, and on Saturday, December 9th, 1 to 4. Local vendors, crafts, gifts, apparel, Ono food, and more. Portions of the proceeds will go to the girls of Hawaii Volleyball Academy, 14s and 16s, their travel teams where they will be representing Hawaii in Las Vegas and in California. They are still accepting applications from vendors, and if you have any other information, you can email liko.beastside@gmail.com. Again, liko.beastside@gmail.com. Mahalo for that. We don't have anyone, but I just double check. Do we have anyone here from Border Water Supply this evening for the presentation? Okay, so that's going to get deferred to January. Again, because of the reschedule, they were unable to make tonight's meeting. So they'll be joining us in January. And this was in support of getting an update on the infrastructure repairs and updates and upgrades that will be taking place in our community very, very soon. Is there any others that have any public announcements or resident and community concerns at this time? Go ahead and raise your hands. Okay.
Hi,
Seeing none.
Kimiona.
Go ahead, Holly.
This is Holly. Would this be the appropriate time to bring up the information that I shared at the Parks and Rec Committee?
You're welcome to share it. If you want to share it as an update, you can.
Oh,
The update happened there, but there's not going to be any action able to be taken tonight because there's no quorum, and it's going to be kept in the. It's going to be kept in the Parks and Rec for discussion anyway.
oh, okay. I thought it was said to be brought to the neighborhood board.
Yeah, we don't have quorum this evening, so we're not going to be able to actually act on it.
Oh, okay. Should I mention it though, or
You're welcome.
no?
Yeah, please go
Okay.
ahead. Share what you have been working on. Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. So update, as I did in the Waimanalo Neighborhood Board Parks and Rec Committee meeting. I just wanted to let everyone know that I have been emailing back and forth Mrs. Thielen and quite a few people regarding trying to contact Chuck Misui about combining the solid surface BMX pump track and the dirt pump track, and have been unsuccessful for several months now. So what I was asking is that we would like to go forth and do the dirt pump track in the area that was approved for the solid surface pump track, especially due to there's no funding as far as I know of for the solid surface pump track. And if we can get started, since it's been 3.5 years and we have the location, I just thought when the time and monies come for the solid surface, we could either blend it or do the solid surface alone when whoever's gonna do that project. Yeah.
Mahalo, Holly. Thank you so much for that update. And yeah, we mahalo you for continuing to stay the course. I think one of the things that we'll have to work on as well, Holly, is the upgrade of revisiting that on a financial level with the council member's office and trying to see how that can get worked into a future budget at some point. But mahalo for your steadfastness
Right.
and that work.
So with the dirt pump track, we're not needing any funding to get that started. I did keep researching. I know we talked about at one time dirt, and we just don't want dirt from anybody. We want to make sure it's tested. Well, I found that person. So it's tested and certified, and they always have a lot of dirt that we can use. And yeah, so I wanted to let everyone know that.
Great. Yeah, we'll agendize it in January and see if we have the ability and quorum to take action on it and make a true recommendation that's updated to our elected officials and to the director.
Mahalo.
Mahalo, Holly. Thank you again. All right, members, I don't see any other hands up for public concerns or updates. So we're going to move on to our elected officials. We're going to start with our council member, Esther Kiaina. Council member, mahalo to your team, as well as yourself for flexibility and joining us on a rescheduled date. We look forward to your update.
Hi, Chair and Board. This is Gloria. I'm Councilmember Kiaina's staff. She's currently trying to log back in. Her power went out, so she's just trying to get back on. So maybe if you want to,
we can go to the next person if you want.
That'd be perfect.
And come back to you. Okay, perfect. So we'll go down the line. Senator Lee, do we have Senator Lee here this evening? Okay, hearing none. Representative Martin, thank you so much again for your flexibility and for making time this evening to be here. We look forward to your update.
Thank you. Aloha. So I thought I would start by answering Holly's question. And I see that Principal Heidi Resentis is actually here as well. But oh, no. Okay. So the question was about the Kailua High School lights. And we did have a meeting just a few days ago with the Kailua staff, athletic director, coach, as well as from Kalaheo, because they're impacted. They use the field as well. And somebody representing band, somebody from the DOE giving us an update, Senator Keohakalole, Senator Lee, and myself. And the update is that the lights, the DOE has gone through a new design process, and that was completed in September. And they're going to replace, they looked into partial measures, and they found that that wasn't going to work. So they're going to completely replace the lights and the poles. They're taking out 6 of them and they're going to put back in 5, and it will be bright enough for the whole field. The funding source for that, it's going to cost $5.5 million. The funding source will be the statewide DOE budget that they have each year for repair and maintenance. And I have to say, normally that is a very hard budget to tap into. So I feel pretty fortunate that they are going to deploy $5.5 million of the $70 million that they have for the whole state towards this project. They're going to put it out to bid, and hopefully that will happen so that they can give the contract by the end of the year. When that contract is given, then they expect it to take 1 year. And a lot of that 1 year is devoted to permitting. So if we were lucky and the permitting process was faster, maybe it could happen sooner. There's an issue with the integrity of the poles. There's some rust on the base and the poles themselves. Almost 5 years ago, they assessed them and they said that, there are structural issues and that they should replace them within 5 years. That 5 years is almost up. So we asked them to do another safety assessment. And if for some reason it comes back that they're hazardous, then what we recommended was that they take them down right away and not wait for the replacement with new poles to remove the old poles. So that is the story on the lights. I know that in the interim, the principal has paid out of their school budget for temporary lights so that at least they can have practices for the band, for soccer and for football. And they have moved some of the games onto Saturday instead of having them at night so that they can have home games, which the coach and the players have actually really enjoyed. So that is what's going on. And that will take, at least until Christmas 2024. But at least there is a plan. I'm not sure if there's any other questions, but in terms of updates, we're getting ready for next session. And if anybody has any burning issues that they would like to see become legislation, please call my office, call me. with your idea, because I'm very open and will try to do what I can. I just got appointed today, so I haven't had time yet to do my homework and bring myself up to date, but I will be chairing the oversight of the DHHL project to spend $600 million on housing, and which I view as a real honor. I want very badly for them to be successful in spending down that money in a timely manner so that the legislature can give them more. So, yeah, and I do understand from speaking with Leona Kalima that the checks did go out and were received by plaintiffs from the Kalima case. And, I was very glad to see those funds find their way into the hands of the plaintiffs. And I hope that money can help make their lives better. And with that, one more thing, little fire ants. There has been an outbreak, infestation of little fire ants near the Pahonu in some of the homes there, and it is being treated. Hawaii Ant Lab went out and did training to help some private companies learn how to survey properly and treat properly. That's the only infestation in residences in Waimanalo that I am aware of. Kailua, on the other hand, is a mess. Lanikai, there are hundreds of homes which are, possibly been impacted, and there's going to be a big survey on this coming Friday and Saturday. And I'm very glad that we haven't seen that spread in Waimanalo. It's possible that the spread in Kailua came from a Waimanalo nursery. So there is an unfortunate link there, but I'm very glad that to date, we're not aware of the spread in Waimanalo. The good news is, should we find little fire ants, they're very treatable. That we do have products that work, that are not toxic. So nobody should be afraid of finding them. They should be, looking and wanting to identify them, because there is something that can be done if we do find them. And with that, I will stop talking and see if there's any questions.
Representative, thank you so much for your work. Members, any questions for the representative? Okay, I'm seeing none. Anyone from the community? I'm seeing none.
Hi, this
Representative
is Holly.
Holly, go ahead.
Hi, I had put in the chat, but sorry. I just said for the Kailua High School lights for graduation of 2024, are they able to have temporary lights somehow so they can do that? Or I'm not sure how many people are in the graduating class. Is the gym too small for that, or?
Holly, I don't want, I will defer to the principal.
Oh,
But
gotcha.
could get back to you, but we did talk about that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of things, but so I can't remember exactly, but I think the gym is too small.
Oh, okay.
But they have been using these temporary lights for practice, and it is conceivable that they could either use temporary lights for graduation or could make it earlier in the day. Move it to an earlier time, so that the graduates, the graduation event can finish before dark. So I think that is the discussion. I think they feel it's too late to move it to another venue because all the other venues are booked.
I
So
see.
it's really unfortunate, and
Yeah.
we need
Mahalo.
better maintenance in our schools to prevent these problems for sure.
Right, right. Mahalo for your information.
Hello, Member Ralston, question for this state representative.
Yes, Rep. Martin, is there going to be another public workshop on little fire ants anytime soon?
We are planning to do a virtual one for people that can't go in person. And I know the date. Let me look it up for you and I can tell you. So that's something that anybody could attend, if they have access to technology. And That is going to be, that's going to be on Monday, December 4th at 6 p.m. And it's going to be a hybrid, so it will be at Kailua District Park as well as online.
Thank you.
And I don't know if you're on my e-news list, but I will send out that information and the link to connect with that virtually.
Thank you very much.
Mahalo, Ted. Representative, I don't see any other hands up this evening, so I want to mahalo you again for your time, your service. I do want to ask, I think in your new role as chair, congratulations. We look forward to working on that relationship. One of the things that has come up in conversations a lot with DHHL is the state and their kuleana and the role that they have in keeping their kuleana of payment to the Native Hawaiian people. So I will be happy to share some of that with you in a different time. But there is a call to action that the state live up to their commitment to pay their annual payments to the Native Hawaiian community. But that's something that I look forward to hopefully having time to discuss at a meeting. But
Yeah,
mahalo for your time.
Chair, I just want to clarify. That I am a chair of a particular group, and the only kuleana of that group is to monitor that 600 million that was given to expand housing. So it doesn't encompass anything else. Doesn't mean I don't agree with you, but I do not have any particular influence over those issues other than just being, one of 51 representatives. So I just didn't want to
Understood.
misrepresent my role.
Not a problem. Not misrepresented at all. 100% understand. Thank you so much for that clarification. All right, we're going to move on. We're going to go back to our council member Kiaina. Sorry, your electricity is out. But thank you for logging back on. We'll
Aloha,
provide time.
guys.
Mahalo for your flexibility in joining us. Thank you.
No worry. I'm glad I found the candle and a little flashlight. So good evening, everyone. I wanted to make a comment about the conversation on the HPD's community policing team. I was not aware, and I'm embarrassed to say that I actually thought that there were different units in each of the areas, but when I went and got a briefing, I found out that there's only 5 members for not just Ko'olaupoko, but it goes all the way up to Ko'olauloa. And so it is down from 9 pre-COVID. And so the reason I'm sharing this is, although I know that there is a significant shortage of patrol officers, I will be seeking in next year's upcoming city budget an increase to have the team back up to 9. And so that will happen in March. I will be asking all of the neighborhood boards throughout Ko'olaupoko and Ko'olauloa to support this effort because I may get pushback. Second, if you are not aware, I introduced a resolution and Gloria will put it in the chat. It's resolution 23-271, and it's an effort actually to support some of the leadership going on at the state legislature by Senator Lee with regard to the reduction of maximum speed limits. I know many communities would like speed bumps, but an additional to is simply decreasing the speed limit from 25 to 15. And so I introduced a resolution which is going to full council on December 6th, which urges the state legislature to remove the requirement for the city to conduct an engineering study for the reduction of speed limits on residential city streets. And it also directs the city's Department of Transportation Services to decrease the miles per hour from 25 to 15 miles per hour. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. Also, third, tomorrow I will be reintroducing Bill 10, 2022 relating to the land use ordinance. It has a 2-year expiration date, as many of you know. So I will be introducing the measure tomorrow. I'm hoping to continue having hearings on the various uses. So residential will be first up in February of next year. And I'm anticipating tackling agriculture probably in April or
Okay, Gloria, you're up.
Oh my gosh.
Council member, if you can hear us,
administration was looking at federal lands, including Bellows. And so I wanted to flag that for the community. When the Planning Commission does hold a hearing, I will make sure to send out an action alert because I've already stated at some of the nomination hearings for new Planning Commission members that I would adamantly oppose that, as well as they're considering Lualualei, which many of you know was also formerly Hawaiian homelands. And so I just wanted to alert the community about that. And that's my report for this evening, everybody.
Mahalo nui, council member. Thank you so much for your report. Members, any questions for the council member? Okay, I'm seeing none. Anyone from the public? Representative Martin?
I'm sorry, Councilmember, we lost you for just a minute, and I didn't understand what it is the issue that they're looking at Bellows that you oppose, and I was hoping you would clarify.
Sure. The Planning Commission, the city's Planning Commission, is looking at future sites for the city's landfill, and there was an article that came out, I believe it was in Civil Beat within the last month or so, that stated that the city administration was looking at federal lands. And 2 of the 4 that was identified in the article identified Lualualei on the Waianae coast, which was formerly Hawaiian homelands and illegally taken out of the trust by the Navy, and Bellows. And I just wanted to alert the community about that because I will be adamantly opposing that. And I'm assuming the community will as well. For a lot of these lands in our Hawaiian communities that have been taken by the federal government, the first people that this will be returned to or given to would be the Hawaiian community and no other entity. They need to look elsewhere. So I just wanted to flag it for everybody. I understand that the Planning Commission will be looking at this issue in February of next year. And so after they make their recommendations, then of course it'll likely come to the City Council. So I'm just flagging it for everybody now so that we could be preemptive.
Mahalo. Thank you for that. Anyone else from the public? Okay, I'm hearing none. I'm seeing none. Council member, I support the inquiry into the district. I think, we've struggled with the district for HPD being such a vast district for many, many years. And I'm curious, is there any process that would help maybe divide the district into a new district of 2?
That would probably be a reorganization, and I think I should have that with the police chief. But what I would also recommend, so that I could get some support, is that all of the neighborhood boards in Ko'olaupoko and Ko'olauloa maybe talk story a little bit so that we could galvanize. But I was kind of aghast, and I wasn't aware, that it was, that's why, you guys wonder why they're not able to respond to everything. And it's because they don't have very many people. But so I would like to say that they're doing an excellent job because I work with them on so many things. And this only came about because I just wanted to find out how come we couldn't have bikes. People in Kailua have been asking for bikes in the town center, right? Because there's a lot of crime in certain corridors. And when they told me there was hardly any, I said, what are you talking about, right? And then so I went to the Kailua police station to go and talk story with them. And then I realized that they were down. So 5 out of 9, right? That's not very many, and that's for the whole region. So good idea. I think I'm going to bring it up the next time that we have avenues at the city council, but I'll probably set up a meeting with the police chief. But I would appreciate any support that I could get from the neighborhood boards and also our state lawmakers.
Mahalo. Yeah, for Representative Martin and Senator Lee, we share that same concern with DLNR. So Docare's region is from Kahuku as well to Waimanalo, and they have they used to have very limited, like one or two that would scan the whole coastline for things. So that's a big struggle. And then for Director Thielen, I think the parks is also, that's the same boundary marks for the district there, if I'm not mistaken, Director. So I think if that's the case, it might be valuable to start having some of these conversations at a higher level. And navigate. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's correct. I agree. And again, what I'm going to do right now, again, there are hundreds, 400 short on the patrol. And so I was told that I'm going to get pushback because of that shortage. And I'm thinking the community policing team, however, is such a small team and they're so critically important to all of our communities. So I'm still going to put in the budget and they're going to have to tell me no, right? And either that or reprogram current vacancies and allocate officers for the community policing team. But it's an important issue, and I just wanted to add to the discussion that you guys had on why we don't see the presence that we would like to see in our communities.
Understood. Councilmember, thank you so much for your service and again your flexibility in being here. Hopefully your electricity
Thank you, guys.
goes
Take
on
care.
soon. Mahalo.
Okay, bye-bye.
Director Thielen, I'm so sorry, I forgot to mention this to you, but the community would like to extend a wonderful, wonderful heartfelt appreciation to recently retired city worker Terrell Leong, who served our community for many years as a park maintenance person. She was recognized by members of the community for her outstanding work, and we would like to just make sure that that message gets passed on to the administration. She will be missed, and we're hoping that there is not going to be any challenges with the work that she leaves behind now. But if you're still on, mahalo to Terrell Leong for her beautiful work in our community. Thank you.
I'm still on. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's always a bittersweet time of year when we have people retiring at the end of the year, and we miss a lot of the good workers who are going.
Thank you. That's great. Mahalo. All right, members, we're going to go back down to our agenda. We have Governor Josh Green's office now. I don't believe Tony's joining us tonight, but Tony took our message recently and asked that the Department of Agriculture provide an update to the concerns surrounding some of the invasive species that we've been seeing in our community. And so Dexter Kishida is here in that capacity to provide the community with an update. And I just want to mahalo Dexter, one, for his, the work that he's doing and fairly new into the position that he's in, but your flexibility as well, Dexter, in being here, even if Tony's not, on behalf of the Department of Agriculture. But as Dexter knows, and as the community is been aware of, infestations has been a problem for us, including more recently little fire ants and CRB. But we also have a coqui frog issue that we've been struggling with in our relationships with the Department of Ag. And the hope is, Dexter, that you can maybe provide an update on some of what's taken place since we've raised the concern about LFA. I think for me, the biggest concern was we've received no word about what's been done since that alert has been provided with regards to that particular nursery. And there's constant fear that things are still happening. The most recent outbreak that Representative Martin talked about in Waimanalo makes us question if plants are being moved from specific nurseries. And is there an investigation in that that's going to help us pinpoint where plants may be receiving from? But I'm going to turn it over to you, Dexter, if you don't mind. And we just look forward to your update and a very fruitful conversation about what we can do as a community and what the Department of Ag will continue to do for our neighborhood and these pests. So, mahalo, Dexter.
Sure thing. Thank you so much, Chair.
And
Um,
I'm so sorry. Before you go, is Chair Heard on too? She was earlier. I thought I saw her on.
she was, but she was having technical difficulties, so she dropped off. But
Okay,
apologizes. But yeah, she did try and pop in.
perfect. We look forward
So
to your update.
sure. I'll start with LFA. And we are actively working with the nursery that really, I don't want to say was ground zero for much of the conversation, but um and we have got the nursery down to 2% of their area testing positive for little fire ants. And they have willingly, actually, there was a weekend that they shut down to fully treat their facility, knocked it down at least by half by that point. So we allowed them to sell from the area that was in the safe zone. And now that they're at down to just 2% of their area, and maybe even less by today, I haven't received an update in about 4 days. That they can't sell anything from the affected area or infected area, only in areas that are okay. And in fact, there are 3 actors in Waimanalo that just weren't being responsive to either Hawaii Ant Lab or us. But since there has been a lot more attention brought to the fact that they need to be good partners in community in Hawaii as a whole. One other has agreed to serving, and at that point, this partner, not really a nursery, more landscape folks, that there was definitely LFA on the perimeter of the facility. That's why we wanted to gain entry. They willingly allowed. And the third, we are continuing one last reach out before we do public notification of who that landscape person is as well. And so this is the current protocol that's happening even before the Chapter 72 rule becomes finalized, or even before an interim rule gets finalized. We are currently, when it's voluntary, we go in, we work with them, we help do testing or surveying testing for little fire ants. And if it's found, we ask them to voluntarily shut down. And many places have, and most places, I should say, have. And then as we go back to test in the next day or two, once the all clear for the treatment is made, we'll open up zone by zone. If it's a large enough facility, then it's zone by zone where the possibility of infestation in that treated area should be minimal to none. And then once the facility is fully clear, it doesn't mean that we stop testing. It just means we go to a once a week testing, and then if things stay clear, we'll move to monthly, and then twice a year to check on progress, to ensure that for the 3 years that the expectation for LFA to really be decimated or eliminated from an area would take place. This is going to tax my staff quite a bit, but it's the commitment that we need to have to ensure we can keep spread as minimal as possible. With that said, for the actors that aren't compliant, we're giving them a letter which says 6 days notice. Because there might have been some confusion on that third actor that I was mentioning on which address it was sent to. And it was a physical address versus the PO box. We're giving them one more chance to respond, and then we do a public notification in the newspaper. And after that public notification, if still no response from the company, then we seek a court order to go in and treat. This does take a bit long. That's why the Chapter 72 rules. I know that it's not gonna. Sorry about that, Chair. My computer just died. But hopefully you can hear me okay.
You're a
Oh,
little soft.
There we go. Sorry, can you hear me okay, Chair?
Yeah, you're a little soft, but maybe if you can speak more directly.
I came to Kapalama Hale, good thing, because
Oh,
my computer died. Apologies.
okay. No worries.
Um,
Thank you so much.
So I think I left off with that, it does take long to go the legal route of seeking a court order. So we are going to be just, with 72 moving through that will speed things up even more so. For coconut, actually, this is the process for any pest infestation, be it coconut rhinoceros beetle, etc. The only difference is with things like CRB, your flowers or things like that won't be infested as long as the potting mix doesn't have a lot of decaying plant material. Then to hit on coqui frogs, my team and I were just discussing this. It is a project that Oahu Invasive Species Committee has been tackling head on. And I believe the last time we were discussing the setup of the pipe up into the mountainside that would really increase the ability to treat. But there's been some engineering technical difficulties that are being perfected with OISC, and before that continues, there also is a not a new challenge, but we just need to work with DHHL to get right of entry, since it's Department of Hawaiian Homeland's land. That even though they're a sister agency, that expires in 3 days. That right of entry, the current right of entry expires in 3 days, which we'll need to renew. It shouldn't be a problem, just a technicality. If there are coqui frogs found on agricultural properties, so any of the businesses in Waimanalo, please do call the 643 pest hotline and let us know, because our rapid response team will come out. Usually not same day, but within a day or two, they will come out to capture. The good part about coqui, they're very territorial and stay kind of in their area or very close to an area. Sorry, Chair, did I hit all of the points?
Yeah, you did. I think when we go through questions, we might be able to dig a little deeper, Dexter. But
Sure.
I really appreciate the active response to those three specifics that we've been focused on for quite some time now.
Of course.
Yeah, so mahalo on that. Members, I'm going to open it up for questions. And, understanding that Dexter is here in the capacity of the HDOA, but, we don't expect him to have every single answer for every single thing. So if there is questions that he may not be able to answer tonight, that we have a follow-up provided. Any members with any questions for HDOA? Okay, I'm seeing no hands. Anyone from the public? Okay.
Chair, your neighborhood board is going easy on me today. Oh, there you go. Red Martin,
It's a
just too
rescheduled meeting,
soon.
that's why. You see, Representative Martin, please.
Yeah, not a question. Well, I guess it is a question. Do you need help getting that permission from DHHL, or are you folks already on it?
No, we're on it. It's like I said, just a formality, really.
Okay,
But
mahalo,
it's
that's fine.
something that we caught that. We better get it, especially if we're going to build this pipeline.
Okay, mahalo.
Okay, Dexter, looks like it's you and me. We'll start with LFA. So LFA,
Sure.
as we know, you folks have been working really hard. And I guess for me, the question and one of the things that I would love to see us pursue is some kind of way of acknowledging those good actors that are doing really good jobs and acknowledging those that maybe are struggling, because the consumer, as we learned at your briefing, which FYI, I will be submitting a formal complaint to that business consumer gentleman and his division about my experience with this particular, so that they have it on record. But I guess my question is, why can't the Department of Ag implement something like the Department of Health did with regards to the red, green, and yellow placarding system that would tell a community member or a consumer, hey, look, this is where we're at with regards to invasive species. Is that something that the DOA has considered or is not on your radar?
No, I'd say we are maybe in the present tense actively considering it. It is something similar programs out there across the nation that do this. There definitely needs to be some legislative assistance in both funding to stand up the program, because essentially it's a permitting program that you set up, right? That's what this becomes. You become a permitted nursery, and then we can have a list of all the green placards. And in fact, 2 or 3 of the industry groups have asked to be identified. Identify us, because we're actively testing every month. We're doing this good work. So they want to be on this good list. And I think on the lowest hanging fruit, that might be the easiest, that we start with the positive and the businesses that are actively doing testing and treatment and ensuring that their processes are in place, but as well as that we go out and test them, right? Not just taking their word for it, but doing a survey and it's showing that it's working. So yes, we're definitely considering this. Just having to figure out the details in the operational part of it all to implement something like this.
Okay. So you're mentioning the potential of needing a legislative support in that. So I the way that I interpret that is, as a neighborhood board, we can put in an action and a resolution to our representatives at the state and say, hey, look, this is something that we want to stand up. It's important for the industry. It's important for the community. And that would help you better poise the HDOA to take some kind of measures that way.
Very much so. Very much so.
Mahalo for that. We want to help, right? That's the biggest thing. We want to help. We don't want to live with this. So LFA has taken quite a bit of attention away from some of the other things that have been in our community, as you've recognized, koki frogs. I took that video standing at the public side of Ka'ulukanu Street, right at the base of Ka'ulukanu Street, last week, 8:30 p.m. Yeah. I am so deeply concerned that from the time the citric acid drops failed with helicopter, all this interim time that's been happening between getting this new system up and running, what has happened with that population? And who do we need to have update us on what activities? Because I'm concerned, if nothing has taken place from that time to now, what have we allowed by means of life cycle, right? And now we're in the wettest of our period of time. Like, if these frogs, eggs, material, debris should flush out of that system and make its way down the valley, which we know it can, we are spreading it even farther, right? And we know, well, it hasn't been confirmed by OS, but what used to be a small population in one valley, in one ravine, has now grown, right? So I'm curious, do you have any update about what has been done from the citric acid drops to where we are today?
Right. And maybe not for the last 6 weeks, from at least the last 6 weeks, but prior to that, my team was going out and doing both hand captures and some spraying. But quite frankly, we are quickly losing that battle. The amount of frogs that we are able to dispatch is far less than the reproduction that's happening. And that's why, I mean, I know I'm stating the obvious, that's why we're seeing this spread. And what's a little weird for koki, normally during the November through January time period, their breeding slows down, if not stops. So even though it's wet, and I thought that this would be the peak time for them, they're not breeding as much, but the fear is we do see spread with water, as you mentioned. So if there is heavy rainfall and these frogs, because they're territorial, they're not going to move usually on their own unless, as they spawn and expand. But weather events that flush them out from areas, or people carrying them inadvertently or on purpose, are how we're seeing the major ways the frogs move. That is why the hope in the pipeline, because it'll give a large volume to a wider area. The backpacks just aren't enough, and the helicopter, the aerial treatments for LFA worked. I mean, it was millions of dollars, but it worked on Maui for Koki. It's just not working.
Got you. So basically, we were overrun in those 6 weeks, and nothing really happened.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I've been in touch with some folks from our ag association, and we want to work on this. We've been receiving reports from various, from at least 2 agricultural spaces that are hand capturing on their own. Are you folks aware of who those people are and are in contact with anyone in our ag association about that?
I'm not, but in my plant quarantine, who does the rapid response, I can double check with them.
Okay.
Noni usually would be the point of contact for this. Let me check with her.
Got you. And then I guess in this same light, we keep talking about viewing potentials and what can happen. How can we make it a community effort to go up and hand capture as a community? Like, if you're out-resourced and we have physical bodies that can come in as a community to help, how can we make that happen?
We need to work with the landowners of that area. I think they move, isn't it, between DHHL and DLNR to get right of entry to do this. We share, I don't know if we can do a permitted interaction group or a subcommittee to work with OISC, Oahu Invasive Species Committee, to see if we can set that up. They would be better positioned to do kind of the volunteer group up in that area. Not to throw Nate in the mix without him being here, but we should engage OISC on this.
Okay. Will you be doing that, or would you like me to do that?
I'll reach out to Nate and connect us together to move this forward.
Okay. And then obviously our CRB concerns, it seems to be getting worse before it's getting better, with results showing up in Kihei. We can say confidently that the risk has tremendously increased. So I guess, in relationship to the rules specifically, we're progressing by understanding that the rules that go into place will hold the HDOA in a much stronger capacity to act on some of these things. What, aside from reporting, because that seems to be the only thing we can really be doing, there's very little by means of capture and trapping and all of that can be. Has there been an increase in either the testing modules that get put out or placed out? What is the community looking at by CRB? Because we have CRB populations, but I will tell you, on Hihimanu, at a particular agricultural space, we have huge heaps of compost that just continue to show up and get dropped. And my concern is that we don't seem to be taking any real action on stopping some of that. So what would you say we can do?
There's 2, and I'm not saying these are the only 2, but there are 2 companies that I know of that treat their mulch and compost to ensure that life cycle is killed. Hawaii Earth Products or Hawaii Earth Recycling, Menehune Magic is the bagged version, and Island Topsoil. One uses heat and one uses fumigation to ensure that the compost and or mulch is free of CRB. With that said, I know there are also other smaller folks that do composting or even mulching. Mulch is, not to sound too dramatic, but is probably the most dangerous because normal people aren't going to use composting method, or what am I trying to say? There's no kill cycle or kill piece for the mulch versus compost in a normal compost pile, a hot compost pile. It gets to 135 for X amount of, a day or 2, you flip it, it gets to 130. So it's going to kill the eggs, the larva, and even the adult beetle, or at least make it not a good host site for the adult beetle. Now, what the danger is in those kinds of composting, it gets hot 3 times, it kills whatever it is, but then you set it on the side and it's not getting hot anymore, and that's where possible infestation happens post kill step. And so people really need to be careful, and we're going to be working on an education campaign on this too, because we need to be careful on where we buy compost from, thinking that it got treated, through just normal hot composting methods. But again, if it's set aside, beetles can then infest, lay eggs, larvae, adults, etc. And mulch, just be really careful on who and what you're getting it from. Ideally, your mulch is actually ground and not just shredded or chipped. And so I guess with all that said, the other piece right now that we're working on is special local need labels for additional pesticides that people can use for both the larva and the beetle, both organic and non-organic products. It's going to take a little bit. There's a few products that we can, I think, get through soon, but many of the products affect or could affect bees. So you can't do it in fruiting trees when there's flowers. And so we really need to increase our arsenal, and we haven't yet. We're in process to do that. Because the other piece is you may need a restricted use applicator license to do some of the treatment, which then gets also expensive. Netting could work, but it's finicky. So I guess CRB right now, I feel why I keep stuttering in the CRB conversations, because we just lack the tools. Little fire ants, we have tools, both restricted use for really hard problems, and then we also have Siesta and Tango just for the homeowner to use at their property. For CRB, we're still so limited in what we can do. And so we need folks to take care of green waste. With that said, we have tons of green space, the whole mountainside that is littering green waste and making great host. And so where we can treat with imidacloprid, being it a soil drench or injection, when it's ornamentals, like our nurseries that do ornamentals, we need them to start working with HECO. I know that doesn't really affect Waimanalo, but HECO properties to ensure they're treating. We've started working with golf courses across the state to have them start treating, knowing that these aren't places that I know one day I would hope they're edible, but they're not edible in the next year at least. So having them treat now to help suppress this population. Sorry, that was a long.
No, it's important though. I think that's why we're here, is to learn and hear what's within our ability to do. Yeah, mahalo for that. Are these mulch facilities, do they have a pathway of certification similar to our nurseries?
So there isn't an actual permit, where the public would see. But because of the interim rule that we launched in October for CRB, these facilities are permitted to move product. So if we find a facility that is moving product that has not approached or been approached by our plant quarantine branch, then we'll need to go through this. So
and will that apply to like the big retail stores where we're seeing movement happening there? It may not be their product, but it's certainly made its way into their inventory. Is that applied to them too?
This is a loophole right now. No, it doesn't apply to the retail place. So that's why we need the consumer to ensure the bag is not torn, doesn't have a hole where a beetle could have gone in or come out.
Right. Okay. My last question, Dexter, and thank you for indulging in the discussions. But my last question just speaks to, I think, where we are today, recognizing that we have such huge issues with invasive species. Has there been any discussion surrounding where these agricultural zones are, and then how much buffer is needed between them and the surrounding community or the surrounding forest? It seems so problematic today because of the challenges we're facing that our agricultural units are right up against our conservation district, literally in the same fence line. Are there any plans or actions that DLNR, HDOA, DHHL, that the state communities, stakeholders can start discussing about how do we create a buffer? What does that buffer look like? And moving forward with regards to zoning, how do we make better decisions in today's time? Because it seems to me like the agricultural zones were created in a time where it was truly fruitful and rich and all of that, and it stayed the course. With today's concerns, though, that seems like it needs to change. Is that a discussion being entertained anywhere?
No, not for the invasive species discussion, because most times we're really seeing it's that human pathway that's moving the invasive species. While yeah, the beetle does fly, CRB flies 3 miles or up to 2 to 3 miles. Most of the spread is human actually. You'll see a slow spread just from the insect, but the big spread comes from people.
Got it.
And so those buffers aren't really seen as a major prohibition to invasive species spread.
Got it. Christy, can you come back on real quick if you're still there? Christy? The reason I want the reason I want to ask Christy this question is Christy has been sitting in on some REPI conversations with us, Dexter, and I'm wondering, does the state agency have the ability to apply for REPI funding through the national program? And have you, if you are?
Absolutely. DLNR did with Oahu Invasive Species Committee and in a few other instances, but we haven't applied yet, but we are looking at REPI as a potential funding source. Right now, there's a pretty decent REPI funding for Oahu Invasive Species Committee for the windward side of Oahu. So we may be looking at other areas that REPI would assist with, but yes, it's a great partnership funding, as well as through Sentinel Landscapes is kind of where some of this discussion is also being had.
Okay. Christy, can we follow up with Leah and see what connections were made there and if they include Waimanalo? Because I know we've been focused a lot on
Yes.
Heia Kahalu'u, but if there is action for Waimanalo, Kailua, like our whole district sits around the Marine Corps base access. So I think it's reasonable, right?
Oh, yes, of course.
Okay.
Excellent.
Dexter, I'm so sorry. My last question is about, going back into the retail sense. We're looking at invasive species from a very broad perspective now today. And I guess my ideas have been circling like, what happens to the retail side of things if we aren't able to make changes? So we have landscapers going in, which was talked about a little bit earlier. The Ant Lab did some training there. Is there anything that the state can mandate for those kinds of trainings? Or is that something that the Department of Ag is going to potentially recommend that these private businesses, they're doing their best, but they're ill-equipped to deal with that? Is there going to be rules changing for them as well in order to do business, to have a certain level of learning in that regard?
This would come in with that kind of green placard system that we were just discussing, right? That where these kinds of trainings or know-how. And it's actually, you bring up a point that the industry has been asking for, at least since I've been on board for a few months now. They
So
said
I'm going to stop you there. Just maybe I got to clarify. The industries, I think we know are doing their part. I guess my question is the landscapers, those guys, the maintenance guys. Is that what you're referring to?
Yep. So them
Excuse me, go
too,
ahead.
right? Them too. That if they're part of, because they move agricultural products in short and en masse, quite right. So they too, if as we think this through, because both more on the immediate side, voluntary training to just even having it available to them. I think that's part of it, right? Most of these folks didn't know had the capability or ability to do these kinds of trainings for their staff. They would love that. CRB, same thing. Talking to Hiko recently, right? This was like, we didn't know that's all it comes down to. It's not active, disengagement. They just didn't know. And so getting the word out more and more is helpful. Even though HDOA gets beaten in some of these conversations, the fact that it's reaching the media and the mainstream media that people hopefully are reading and listening to is bringing this conversation to light in pockets that we just didn't have the funding or capability to get to. And now training can happen and people are educated and we can move forward.
Okay. Dexter, I want to thank you for your time and obviously for staying on late this evening to have the discussion with me. Members, anything else before we excuse Dexter? Okay, seeing none. I just want to mahalo you again, Dexter. I think you know, we are committed as a community. Everyone that's been a part of these conversations are committed to ensuring that we do what we can for not just our community, but also for our farmers and our agricultural people and our education systems and all the different things that make up who we are as a community. And it's gonna be challenging. And I want to just recognize that, you know, you folks have been putting in some really critical work. There are some concerns that we'll talk about a little bit later, but certainly I appreciate your making time for us tonight, and I look forward to stepping into some more active roles with supporting the department's movement of getting rid of these pests in our community.
Thank you, Chair. Look
Mahalo.
forward to working together.
Thank you. Members, we're gonna move on. We do have some board business listed this evening. Unfortunately, we are only at 5 members out of the needed 7 quorum to make decisions this evening. But I do recognize that we have wonderful community members that have stayed on this whole time, which I'm sure are eager to comment on some of the agenda items. I want to be respectful of their time. Even though we cannot make a decision on these items, I do want to offer the same 3 minutes that were provided at previous meetings if they would like to address their comments to these items. So we're going to go through, we're going to have to defer the regular meeting minutes for Monday, October 9th to our January meeting. Unless there is any other discussion, I'm just going to defer that. Members, any other discussions on that? Okay. The sweep at Waimanalo Beach Park Campground, this was brought up by our chair of the Residentially Challenged Committee, and we've been trying to advocate for a more updated stance on this particular topic. I recognize the Ka'akuas are here this evening. Uncle Joe, Jonah, I think Auntie was here too. Do you guys want to make any additional comments tonight into that topic? I'm assuming, I just want to make sure you have time to share if you'd like to, but I do regret to inform you we don't have enough members present to make a collective decision. But Uncle Joe or Jonah, anything you guys want to share?
Thank you again. I realize we don't have quorum.
Jonah, you're really quiet. Any chance you can speak a little bit more directly?
I would like to share that there is literally a fight happening right now, or like 5 minutes ago, with swearing and threats to kill one another. And I want to take my computer outside to show, but it's the same thing. So I know I sound like a broken record, but I realize we don't have enough, and it, you know, away, but it literally is. It's the same thing. And I know there was a concern about stealing at the beach lots. I would hope that this issue gets addressed before we move to others, because it has been the last 5 months that we've been trying to communicate what is happening. Prior to the fights, there was loud music blasting the whole time, and I realized, you know, it's a time, you know, everyone wants to have fun, but it's 9 o'clock, and I feel like old man, but this is what we deal with. And I could take my computer out, and you can hear them yelling at each other right now, if you would like to. But same. Mahalo.
Yeah, Jonah, I want to just acknowledge that your fight has not just been 5 months. Your Ohana has been dealing with this for years. And so I want to make sure that we're present in that too. Uncle Joe, anything you want to share?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. Go ahead.
I just want to let you know that last month, you know, the homeless across the street, a telephone pole broke, you know, by the pond, and the wire came down. the pole came down on one tent, the wires came down on 7 tents. You know, they're like ground level. They closed the street in front of our house. That's not the best place to put your homeless guys. You know, that's not the best place. They camp under the wires, but that happened October 21st, Sunday. We're all out on the street. That's what happens. What has changed? A lot of dogs across the street now. I can't walk to the beach. There's 2 openings in the fence, and next to those 2 openings are dogs, you know. So I still go through, but the dogs are there. Also, there's an access to the beach for cars next to one of the tents. Always been there. Every day there's cars there. These all illegal, you know, no parking, no dogs, no camping. Just getting worse. You know, we're looking for an end to this. You know, it's getting worse and worse all the time. And we've been seeing that for 4 months now, and we hope something gets done in January, you know, maybe get on the agenda. And so thank you.
Mahalo for your time, Uncle Joe, and your comment and your patience, obviously. Uncle Dwight, are you commenting on this too?
Yes, I'd like to comment.
Mahalo.
But I actually, I know some members of the board had reservations before, or maybe still had questions in their own mind about what was going on. But I'm hoping that our testimony over the last few months has kind of put that to rest in terms of, you know, if you didn't know what was going on, I hope you all know what is going on now. And, you know, because this problem was actually created by the board some time ago, it's important that the board take action to end it. Because you have people now who are taking advantage of the board's goodwill from this, trying to solve this problem. And actually, they're going beyond it and using the goodwill and trying to seek protection for crime. So that's something that is not good for our community.
We offer to people to anti-plant.
So I think I know you can't take action on the matter tonight, but it would be good to at least know if any of the members on the current board have reservations about taking action on this issue. That's my only comment. Thank you.
Mahalo, Uncle Dwight. Thank you for that. Auntie Joe?
Aloha.
Aloha.
I'm sorry I got lost in the shuffle because I just wanted anyway. Waimanalo Neighborhood Board is the first step as you voted 5 years ago not to allow police intervention. And you heard tonight from our representatives that we only have 5 patrol people for the whole Ko'olau Poko. So we as the neighborhood board have to do something together. What can we do? You can talk to your constituents and see if they're in favor of helping. We went across the street and we offered to move anyone to Auntie Blanche's. Nobody took us up on the offer. So we have shared over the last 5 months illegal activities, murder, stealing, vandalism. And the last 2 weeks was windy. So this is stuff that I cleaned from my front yard, which is little bags, colorful bags with white residue. So this is very dangerous to our youth who cross our street every day to Blanche Pope School. So neighborhood board, you know, I admire Auntie Mabel for all that she's done, but she can't do it herself. You know, I ask you folks to please help the community and be strong. the island of Oahu is not strong enough. But we as a neighborhood, we need to help them. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Auntie, for your comments. Anyone else wishing to comment on this from the public? Okay, seeing no other hand, Representative Martin, go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to thank the neighbors for coming to share their experience because I think it's so easy for people to make choices that they don't have to live with the consequences. And we see the same thing in Kailua, around the Kailua Beach Park, where the neighborhood board has refused to implement hours so that the park can be closed. And there is a homeless presence there as well. And it's the neighbors immediately around that are impacted, but the people voting on the board do not live in that area and they're not facing the consequences. And I think it's a similar situation here, albeit much more intense. And I really appreciate the effort and the organization you guys have put in to speaking up for yourselves. So mahalo.
Mahalo. Anyone else from the public? Okay, we'll go to the chair of the Residentially Challenged Committee, Auntie Mabel, for comment, and then we're going to move on.
I just wanted to thank everybody for them to come, the neighbors across the street, for sharing their mana'o. As far as the motion of I wanted to submit it in writing that be it resolved that the Waimanalo Neighborhood Board 32 supports the sweeps and or other police action when criminal activity persists within a homeless settlement or in our ahupua'a of Waimanalo. That's going to be what I'm going to submit as a motion for January that we can vote on. So I'd like to ask the chair to continue to put this motion to adopt this resolution to support the sweeps. So I'm just going to ask you for put it on the January agenda again, since we have no quorum. Thank you.
Yep. Mahalo, noted. It will be deferred, so that means it will be put on the agenda for January. And we look forward to hopefully taking up a very, very rich discussion there at that time. Mahalo, Chair, for your work in that as well. Okay, members, seeing no other hands, we're going to continue to move on. We have little fire ants and coconut rhinoceros beetle. This was something that happened previous to the changes that were mentioned by Dexter Kishida. So we were asked to take a position on the change in rules and amendments to Chapter 72. I will announce that the Department of Ag has rescinded their initial position on regarding the work on Chapter 72, and so we will continue to press on with the current process, which will hopefully come out into public hearing very, very soon, which we will then again engage in the discussion surrounding our stance on how we acknowledge the issue there. So we're going to defer that to our January meeting as well. We do have a one-time fund of $1,000 that was provided to the board from the Neighborhood Commission office, and we have not yet taken a position on what to do with it. We've had some very brief conversations, but we need to come up with a solution to that because I believe there will be some question about what happens soon with that funding. Are we, Jeffrey, is that correct? Is that at risk or are we good? We just have to make a decision.
So just to clarify, the $1,000 is for solely for community outreach. I don't want to give it for sure because I'm not entirely too sure if it's like a use or lose once the end of the year's done. What I could do is I will clarify that with Lloyd first thing tomorrow, and I can give you a call. Is that okay, Chair?
That would be great because I've heard from other boards that it was something that would potentially be lost. So, and Kinani, I'm going to acknowledge Kinani because she attended the last meeting. Kinani, can you share?
Yes, Lloyd did say that we had about 30 days, but if you needed an extension, Kimiono, that you could call Lloyd and you could talk to him and he'll give you the extension.
Got you. So Jeffrey, maybe you can just carry that over, that was shared at, that was, I think, the chairs meeting, yeah, Kinani?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And maybe the request, Jeffrey, is that we would need an extension. If you need me to contact Lloyd directly, I'd be happy to.
I could bring it up to Lloyd first thing, to let him know to be expecting your call, just to know what give him like a brief overview what the discussion was about.
Got you. Thank you very much. So members, we're going to defer that as well to our January meeting, and then the committee charters will defer those as well. So we just want to mahalo everybody for those things. Well, meeting announcements. Do we have any meeting announcements from the Neighborhood Commission office? Jeffrey, do you have anything to share from the Commission office?
Nothing on my end.
Perfect. Mahalo. The next meeting for the Neighborhood Commission was actually scheduled for today. No, yesterday. Should have been yesterday. No, today, Monday. So if you're interested in participating in the commission meetings, please go ahead and double check on their website as well what those meeting dates are. The next Waimanalo Neighborhood Board monthly meeting will be scheduled for Monday, January 8th. That's Monday, January 8th. 6 p.m. via WebEx at Kapala Mahale as well, room 153. We've been having to kind of work around Kapala Mahale as well as our meeting space in the library. So it might be confirmed that the library may be available, but we'll double check it when the meeting agenda gets posted. We should be good to go from there. So for future reference for the members and the public, we are trying to work out a meeting schedule with the public library to give us a public space here in Waimanalo to again be meeting in person as well as on hybrid. So just something to think about. 2023 broadcast schedule for Olelo meetings are broadcasted on Olelo Channel 49 on the fourth Monday of the month, 9 p.m. and on the first and third on Olelo Channel 49. First and third Saturdays of the month at 3 p.m. We have a website available if you want to look at it, to receive and go and review. You're welcome to do that. Ho'ikai Neighborhood Board meeting scheduled on the last Thursdays. Kahalu'u Neighborhood Board scheduled on the second Wednesdays. The Kaneohe Neighborhood Board is scheduled on the third Thursdays of the month, and the Kailua Neighborhood Board scheduled on the first Thursdays of the month. So if you're interested in participating in those discussions and learning from those communities, please make yourself available to them as well. With that being said, if you do not receive currently the meeting agenda or minutes via email or via your postal mail, please consider signing up for them. We definitely want to make sure you can stay in the know and you are reached out to when they do get sent out. We do have social media sites, Facebook and Instagram at Waimanalo Neighborhood Board, where we use to just promote and share agendas, items that have come up in discussions, etc. We do not engage in comments on the board items from those social media platforms, but it is a sharing mechanism for us. And then we do have access to a Google Drive. That is where a lot of the documents and items that get shared with us here at the meeting are housed for the community, in addition to other public reports and agency updates as well. So if you need that, I think we have a public document link that you can access as well. So that makes a note for me, Jeffrey. Oh no, we have it on the top of the agenda. There's a Google Drive link for you to view. So mahalo for that. And we want to mahalo, Jeffrey, for your time with us this evening. Thank you so much for helping us run a very effective meeting. Again, albeit a rescheduled meeting, we certainly want to just share our deepest aloha with you there. With that being said, members, we're going to go ahead and adjourn our meeting. Do we have anyone willing to close us off in Pule this evening before we adjourn? Would anyone like to close us off in Pule? Okay, seeing no hands, we will just offer Pule on behalf of all of us to all of you, to malame yourselves, be well, be healthy, continue to live with aloha, and definitely do all that you need to do to ensure that your voices continue to be elevated and heard. With that being said, we mahalo you folks all. Mahalo, ahui ho, drive safely, get home safely, be safe. Meeting is adjourned at 9:34 p.m. Ahui ho kako. Thank you guys so much.
Aloha.
Hey,
Mahalo,
Kia,
gang.
I
Yeah.
had a